welcome back. I had a nice little break during the weekend. I didn't do any filming. I did do a bit of playing around with watercolors that I have ordered from Daniel Smith, but we will look into that and a few other new things, as you might have caught on to it from Instagram. We'll talk about all of those, and we'll do all the swatches in August once I finish with this watercolor challenge. And yeah, thank you so much for all of the comments that you left for the previous video. I was hesitating whether I should have opened up, but then I decided it probably would be good for a lot of people who are going through the same or similar thing, and it does help when other people chime in and share their stories, so that other people don't feel like they're going through alone through this. And yeah, if you are curious then and haven't heard or seen what I'm talking about, you're welcome to read in the comments. Okay, so I'm switching the gears slightly for this piece or the layout actually, and I decided to go more into the pinks. I'm using Napthamide Maroon, which I used before a couple of times I think, but I kind of wanted to explore it a little bit more in this piece, and I painted what seemed to me some kind of a Art Deco tulip floral, and yeah, the lines are very much Art Deco, and so that's what I went for here anyway. And what I have done is actually, let's see, so in this piece and the next one you will see me explore a few more colors. So I'm adding quite a few colors to the palette, and then you will see me actually minimize it to literally 3 colors, and it will be an interesting experiment as well, but that's in the coming days. Okay, so again, composition, I'm keeping it simple-ish, and I also will start filling up the page slightly more in a few illustrations, just because I have the sketchbook next to me. It's what I can see here and share with you. So in this case I want to explore also a different gold. Now I've used a few golds, and it was let's see, yes, it was July the 5th and 6 illustrations, if you want to go back and have a look. So these 2 illustrations had the Daniel Smith iridescent antique gold, if I'm not mistaken, in there. And now I decided to dip my brush into the Schmincke gold, and it's a really pretty gold, and I actually forgot about it, haven't used it in a while, and I will definitely explore it in this piece and a few others that are coming, because I really enjoyed it. It's quite different to the other one, to the Daniel Smith, because that one has a bit more of a kind of bronzy tint to it. This one is just the classic yellow gold. So I'm starting by adding concentrated mix of Napthamide Maroon towards the tip of the petals, and then with a clean brush I'm just dragging out or wetting the paper and then touching in some of the areas, and that will kind of will naturally pull the color into the clear and clean water. So very simple, and I didn't want the whole flower to be too dark because Napthamide Maroon can be quite intense, and yeah, so I just wanted to have a nice play with it and explore all the different values of this color in this one bloom, so to speak, because I mentioned this before, it's such an interesting color where you can take it from the darkest to the lightest and have so many values to just one color that it makes you, when you look at it, it makes you think that you have used a number of flowers. So what else are we doing here? So I teamed it up with the QoR. Is it the QoR? Yes, the QoR Gold Green. Everything is listed down below, so the colors that I use, I list them down below for you so that you can check them out if you wish. And so far, very nice and simple, but I will also combine some of the Museum Aquarelle by Caran pencils, which are watercolor pencils, and that will add extra texture, and also obviously will make it more of the art supplies. So the leaves, I kept them round-ish. I really like the shape of a leaf as well, just changing things up a little bit because there have been a lot of pointier leaves, and don't worry, I'll go back to the pointier leaves soon enough, but for now, for this spread, they will be a bit rounder. At the bottom there are a couple of the pointiers. So here is the Schmincke Gold, and it's a lovely color, by the way. It's really, really fun. It's a little bit harder to re-wet than the Daniel Smith one, I find, but it works still very well. So just, you know, drop a few drops of water in there and let it sit a little bit, and then, you know, maybe just 10-20 seconds, something like that, and then it will be ready for you to mix it up with the brush and pick up the pigment. It is a really beautiful color in terms of a metallic gold. It sits beautifully on top. It mixes in, blends in really prettily, and it's a great gold watercolor. If you would consider sort of looking into gold watercolors and just to buy it from a tube, I would recommend this one. And then I am adding a few of these pencils. So the colors here that I'm using is the, let's see, I've got them on my desk. So the Burnt Sienna 50%, which is the middle color. Then the lighter one is that sepia 10%, and then the darkest, I think, yeah, the darkest was the crimson aubergine, which fits in quite well with this color palette right here. I'll swatch them out in a second and I'll remind you again. So here we go. So this is the crimson aubergine, and then we have the, oh, I lost it. I just had it now. Let's see, where is it gone? Burnt Sienna 50% underneath it, and then the final one is the sepia 10%, the lightest one. Okay, so these are the swatches, and I am now adding the gold throughout the petals as well, just letting it sit a little bit. I mean, you can control this gold watercolor by adding more or less water, and, you know, like with all of the metallics, you can shear them out and have a very light glaze, or you can make it quite opaque and intense if that's your desire. And I played with both. I sheared it out on the actual flower because I didn't want it to be too strong there, but on the leaves, you'll see later, it's actually quite opaque mix of the paint, and it is so pretty. I mean, you know, sometimes you go through your paints and you get excited and like rediscover them, because when I bought it first I absolutely loved it, and then, you know, a while later you start using something else and you kind of forget about it. And now it's the time where I'm just thinking, my gosh, I enjoyed using so much, and I enjoy it in my illustrations here, that it makes me want to use it more and more. And I can guarantee you have those colors in your palettes, especially if you have more than one, and or those that you create yourself. You know, colors get forgotten sometimes, and when you rediscover them, it's like, my goodness, an entire world just opens up in front of you. So here I decided to, it was a tricky flower in the sense of it has like a deep opening to it where the seeds are popping out from, and then the petals kind of sit like a little cup with the petal curled at the top. So I was trying to play around with the dimensions and push certain things further away to create a sense of depth of the flower, so that you kind of can see the shadow and suggest that there is a deep opening to the flower. And then also the on the petal that is curled, I wanted it to be lighter because I wanted to suggest light reflection, and then underneath that petal curl there is more darkness to suggest that the curl creates shadow. So in that sense it was a little bit complicated to play with it, but if you just want to have fun and just don't really care about making things stand out or push them back, then just, you know, go ahead and color it in the way you want to. So now I'm moving on to these beads, which I am enjoying tremendously, and sometimes I forget to add them, and sometimes I go back and add them, but not always. There are certain illustrations where I think it doesn't need to have it, and generally when there is a long part of the bit I forgot what it's called, that is exposed, then I feel like I need to fill a gap with that little bead, and it just sits really nicely. But if the vine is quite curled and is on a shorter side, and also has loads of leaves in between, so the long bits are not there, then I find I don't need to add it. There I just decided to layer a little bit of that sepia 10%, which is a beautiful grayish pink color. A taupe probably would be the best way to describe it. Or actually no, it's not a taupe. The one above is a more of a taupe. So yeah, that sits really nicely on darker colors like Napthamide Maroon, and it will create that milky effect. So that's a really nice way of playing with this color as well. And that is pretty much it. I'm just stamping the 17th of July, which is woohoo. I am more than halfway through, and enjoy the close-ups, and see you in the next one in 2 hours time.